Electrocast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
It's the Power Ranking Show. I am DK Sizzle. I am here with the real DK Bob Kelly. And I don't even want to say special guest because you are part of the furniture and missing the point, Mark Marcangelo. I mean, we love having other folks on the Power Ranking Show, but you basically run our MTP Boston office now. You're heading up that region, so it's tough to get your time. You know, you're a busy man. You got your finger in a lot of pies, but
especially
finally,
on the Power Ranking Show, because my team isn't talked about. So, you know.
Yeah, but it is though. We have discussed the Patriots.
We do discuss the Patriots. Surprisingly,
I've heard.
Like.
Yeah,
I've heard.
And
we don't rip them. Surprisingly, I feel like we're pretty nice to the Patriots.
I'm somber about it. I'm personally somber about the death of the New England Patriots because I do like witnessing greatness. In my old age, I'm starting to like really soften up on stuff like that. Like LeBron James, I'm like, I'm glad I saw his career. You know, it's like
so good.
But like there was times where I was like just wishing like nothing but misfortune on his house. So it's a strange time to be alive. You know, as you go gentle into that
evolution.
Yeah. Progress. You know, we're all trying to grow here. We're all trying to be better. White men talking about sports. Let's get into it. There's a lot of fires, buns in the oven. There's a lot of pokers in the fire, a lot of fingers in the pies. There's teams that the thing is every year, this is the theme I was sort of thinking about today before we came on the show. Every other NFL year, all of us have been basically at each other's throats about like one thing or another, right? Like some sort of through line that like, I'm so sure about over here, but you're so sure about over here. But for some reason, where we built our camps this year and how everything sort of fell with our takes, like, Mike, I'm just enjoying watching our Vikings take like cruise nicely into like the end of the season, like a nice cushioned fall for our Vikings take. Well, I mean, they're winning some games that they're not supposed to win.
They're 5-4, bro.
Yeah, but they can get to 9 wins, and we still get our prediction like
That's
right.
true. You get your prediction right.
We're good. You know, like all they needed.
I thought it was like
7
one
wins.
game. Yeah, but I thought you changed the fucking rules.
Oh no! Oh no! Now I'm stressing out. Okay, I gotta pay close attention to that. But what I was gonna bring up is just a couple honorable mentions, and we're also gonna do cross-offs, and then we're gonna get into the top 10. But some honorable take mentions, Bobby. I was just thinking about this today, and I know I said this to you in the chat. Your CJ Stroud prediction was shockingly early for everyone to get, because everyone fully had to get on board the bus this week for obvious reasons of like the game that he played.
If you're not, man, then you just don't.
Then you don't like football,
right?
Yeah, you're not watching the best rookie season. They're saying since Andrew Luck. I'm saying I've ever seen. That's what I'm doing. Right.
Yeah,
I'm at that point already. That you're doing a victory lap with that. And there was another one that I wanted to.
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
I was on
That's
board
the other
early
one.
with the Ravens.
Yeah, I was gonna because I made fun of you a little bit because you were like, I'm all in. I'm hanging my banner, and then they had like a couple of embarrassing losses, and I started making fun of their weapons because it was like Nelson Aguilar. I was like, you guys suck. But like he sucks wherever he goes. But I was totally wrong. The Ravens are super legit. In fact, I would be hard pressed because they don't do that thing anymore that they used to do where they'd be that good and then they'd fuck the whole game up in the fourth quarter, even though they looked like it for a second a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to give you your flowers, at least, as Ray would say, on the CJ Stroud thing. We're obviously going to talk about the Ravens because they do hit the thing, but please do take a victory lap on the man because you're an early adopter. Your stock is skyrocketing.
Yeah, man. I just in today's NFL, you know, you looked around and saw the state of the quarterback position.
I mean, we were talking shit about it. Like we were talking shit about everybody, basically.
But then you look at what he actually was early, and it's like, bro, early on, you can tell that this dude's already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Like, you could just see it. He had it.
Especially
I
in
think it was
contrast to like the Bryce Youngs of the world. Like we're like
well,
early, you know.
it's such a good apples to apples comparison too. Like, it's the same draft. They just played each other last week, and it's like, bro, it's so obvious to see who's the better quarterback there, especially with, bro, you look at what he has for weapons. I think it was week 2 or week 3 that he really broke out, and it was like, that's when I saw it. It was like, bro, this fucking guy, and he had that speech where he's like, I just love leading my men. This is my locker room. We play a game of football and it's fun, and I love doing it. And like, he has his offensive line over for dinner once a week and shit, bro. Like, this dude just gets it. And you can see it. Look at that team. That team was an
It's
abomination
terrible.
at the
It's
beginning
terrible.
of the season. It still
Terrible.
is.
It's
And he's
factually terrible.
what did he have
Um,
this week? 4
4 TDs. So I mean, his fantasy score was like 40 points. So
Unbelievable.
40 some points. It was fucking crazy. So he went crazy. Mike, I mean, how many backflips are the NFL doing just over the fact that, yeah, he's a breakout. Yeah, there's a storyline. Finally, there's like a fresh storyline in the league this year, but also he's so entertaining to watch. You know, like
Yeah.
he made that game all the way to the end, like so entertaining. He's a gamer. I mean, you must have had fun.
The game
like,
was fucking
must
awesome.
watch- Yeah, it was great. It was super entertaining. It made the main screen for me by the end. So I was thoroughly enjoying it, but I couldn't believe it. And then, you know, there was running backs kicking field goals. And like, it was a great Sunday. It was overall, it was just a wonderful Sunday. But Mike, what do you make of Mr. Stroud?
I mean, he's the real deal. I mean, and kudos to Bobby for saying it earlier than anyone else.
Oh my
but
God, it like hurts coming out of Mike's mouth. The compliment.
I just
he
yeah.
has such a tough time. Like I could feel it.
If it's a preface by saying kudos, it means you really fucking hate saying what you're about to say. But but like that team was not built to win anything, nothing. And he came in and he's just willing. He's willing that team to win. I mean, he's making guys like Tank Dell, who could be a pretty good wide receiver, look elite in his rookie year. And
Well,
I
it's
just
like,
go ahead, Bobby.
just keep going. Sorry. I was just kind of look at Noah Brown. Look at Noah Brown, bro. Look at Noah Brown.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you to your point, like, you can tell early on if a guy was just all that in college, and if it's going to actually transmit to the NFL. And this guy he just has balls. You know what I mean? Like, he just wills him to win.
Yeah, he put his nuts on the heads of the Carolina Panthers. I love it. I think the thing that's so entertaining about him is that thing though, where it's like anybody that can turn a game into their style of game. Like, he looks like a college quarterback running around out there, like doing all the stuff that he's doing, but it's like because he takes the game over. Like it's CJ Stroud's world. We're all just living in it. You know what I mean? And it was just so much fucking fun to watch. My worry is that the Texans fuck up and like that organization.
Yeah,
Like,
that's possible.
I mean, I know that they did get Deshaun weapons and they made a run, but they made such a balls of it. I just worry that the culture down there, like, I mean, maybe he's the culture changer though. Like, it could be that. It could be that much of a thing.
Well, I think D'Amico Ryans is a whole different ball game than Bill O'Brien. You know, what I mean? D'Amico Ryans has his pulse. He's one of those guys that has his pulse on the culture and the locker room and like what he needs to do, because he is one of them. You know what I mean? I those are my favorite type of coaches right now, and I feel like that's like what's making the biggest impact are those guys that like are one of the guys. They know what the fuck to do with today's NFL, because it is a different NFL today than it ever has been. Like, the coaches have to do so much more, like, connecting, I feel like, than ever before. You know what I mean? It's not just about X's and O's anymore. I think you see that with Belichick and why he struggles. Because, like, bro, if your guys aren't running through a wall for you, if they don't think that, like, honestly, you could strap up and get in there, I don't know if they're going balls to the walls for him anymore.
So you're saying that
I think Ryans is that kind of guy.
different down there already, so they're not going to make the same mistake twice. And
what a roundabout way of fucking saying that. Jesus Christ.
No, I mean, you got there. I was with you on the whole funky ride. Take me on your magic carpet. We love it around. A couple of other honorable mentions. I am enjoying the fact that every time you sit down to do the power rankings, even if you're not obligated to put the Steelers in the top 10, you're like, you have to smell their shit. Like, you have to smell, like, there's just like a waft. The whole AFC North just has to waft like next to your nose, because like it's basically a tank of a division. Like, everybody in it has a winning record. Like, they have the most wins of anybody, which I keep mentioning. They're fucking wagons. The Ravens, we're going to talk about, lost to the Steelers. Like, they're right there, just like right in your ear, like, Bobby, Bobby, just outside the door, like just tapping on the glass ceiling. So I still quite like their defense. I think that their offense can only get better. I have a sneaking suspicion we might have to have a conversation about them. I mean, they can only get better. They can only get better. They can't get worse.
Yeah, they could. They could, bro.
That defense is legit, and they won another game.
They should just put TJ Watt at quarterback and just let him fucking just figure it out. You know what I mean? He scores more touchdowns than anyone else.
There's undeniable moments, like, I know you probably begrudge it, but like TJ Watt's fucking helmet falling off and him coming around the corner and sacking the quarterback anyway.
Bro, TJ Watt's my guy. I love fucking
he's
TJ Watt,
such a
man.
beast, dude. Like he's about it, trench warfare. And like those trench warfare teams seem to be able to beat the like flashy West Coast spread, zone run, fucking Shanahan offenses. Like they seem to be able to drag them into fistfights and just knock them dead. So I don't know. I mean, it's wide open for which style of offense really wins out this year, and I'm excited to actually watch it. The Jaguars didn't make the list, but it's because they had a bye week, so there's not that much to talk about that we haven't already covered. So glad you did that, actually, really for the sake of the show. Now that I think about it,
that's literally why too. Because
I don't think the Saints beating the Bears makes the Saints like worthy of any kind of extended conversation.
No,
because the Bears are not good, and even Justin Fields playing.
Mike. Whoa, Russ. that was aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's true though. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything about it. I'm willing to admit that. I was very surprised to see the Seahawks go down the way that they did. They went down like bitches, and I really did not see that coming. But we'll talk about that later when we get to the Ravens conversation. The Vikings we've touched on. A few cross-offs. Obviously, Carolina, we can cross off fully, right? They're gone. They're not going to do shit.
Your Bears are
we can also cross off the Bears, but I would have liked to at least say the Cardinals first, if that's like fucking okay with you. I would like to cross the Cardinals off first.
That is okay. That is okay.
I would also like to cross the Giants off first before I cross the Bears off.
You're right. We should have crossed the Giants off first because, in my opinion, I think they're the worst. Out of all the teams I watch every single Sunday,
they're the worst to watch.
The Giants are the most abomination of football to watch on TV. 100%.
I agree 100%. The Patriots, Mike, are you okay if we cross the Patriots off?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Denver Broncos can go. I'm not crossing off the LA Rams yet.
Shouldn't.
That's where I draw the line. I still like Puka and I still like Cooper Kupp, and I still think they can string some shit together. I think they're better than what they showed against the Packers.
They just signed Carson Wentz too. I mean, and that's kind of fun. So yeah,
let's see. We can
keep him there. Yeah, we'll keep him there.
I might say cross off the Titans, but really there's no definitive cross offs anymore after that. So that's official. Number 10 on Real BK's power rankings this week are the Buffalo Bills at number 10 because they suck. Like they fucking suck.
Plummeting. What the fuck is going on?
Someone explain it to me. What's going on?
The only explanation I have is Matt Milano's out, and who's the corner? McKelvin, right?
Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, White. He's out. McKelvin's from like 2007, isn't he?
Yeah, it's fine.
When your brain could still store memories.
Yeah, exactly. Back when I have all of that in 07. Yeah, but so they're just plummeting, man. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Buffalo Bills. I honestly don't, because it's wild.
We talked about this on MTP Boston though, DK. It's because that team doesn't know how to manage its offense. They just think because they have Stephon Diggs and they have Josh Allen that those two should be responsible for everything. They have a running game. They actually have serviceable running backs that they refuse to fucking use. So he put it all on Josh Allen.
They don't scheme for them properly. Like even when they hand the ball out, the runs just look terrible. And it's like if they're gonna make any sort of move, it's gonna on the ground. It's gonna have to be Josh Allen, which is just not a good look.
You know what I noticed a lot too, which really affects their run game, is they don't line up under center a lot. I don't know what the stats are under it, but I mean it can't be more than 30% that they line up under center. They're in the shotgun so much. And I don't know if that's just the way, Allen likes it, or, that's just the way the offense is, but it definitely affects the run game. I mean, I don't know. You guys have heard me say this so many times. I fucking hate runs out of the shotgun formation. I think it is useless.
Oh, I like them.
Well, in certain situations, yes, but like you're not
Because
going to
you
be
can
able
run
to.
a draw. You can run a more
But you
effective
can't.
draw play out of
You
the
can't.
gun.
100%. You can't set up your run game out of the shotgun though. You can't establish a
What if you're running
real run.
RPOs? If you're running
That's
RPOs, you should be running it out of the shotgun.
okay. RPO is different.
This is
to that
blasphemous.
point
This is
though,
blasphemous to me. The shotgun formation, I think, is very versatile. I think it's overrated to line up under center. I think you might as well go pistol. Like if you get a little closer.
I like pistol. Pistol's different. I just feel like in the shotgun, your running backs never get a chance to actually get ahead of steam before they're going to the line, and I feel like that's where they struggle because James Cook is a good running back. That dude.
He is good. He is good. He's not being used correctly. I mean, don't you think that like they play kind of like when you're not good at Madden certain years and you just like pick the Bills and you're like, I'm just gonna throw it to Stephon Diggs every single time and like hope he can like do some shit. I'll do some spin moves. Like hopefully if I press B enough times, I'll like get to the end zone, and you just really don't know how to read the routes or like change the routes or any of the buttons because it's been years. I experienced this recently. But it's like, I don't know. They
Still
like
sucks.
you always say, Mike, they just keep fucking expecting Stephon Diggs to do anything. And if he wasn't there, I don't see how they win any games or score any fucking points.
Yeah.
well, at that point, they might actually have to develop the run game. Like to both of your points, if they are going to run out of the shotgun, like that is the perfect quarterback to run an RPO because he's their leading fucking rusher for the last 3 years. So of course he's going to be a threat. And you have Cook and Damian Harris, who by the way rushed for like 900 yards with the Patriots 2 years ago. So he's also a serviceable running back.
Yeah, and like move quickly, like run the hurry up and give Josh Allen like 5 back pocket plays to like just read the defense and like pick an RPO or like pick, just it's try and get the tight ends involved, like little pick and pops. Oh shit, then he ran. Get the defense tired, get him thinking, Like he's not a traditional like 3 down pocket quarterback. So utilize his upside instead of trying to make him into something that he's not. I have the same issue with Fields in Chicago. It's like just use the things he's good at for fuck's sake so we can win the games. You can be that kind of quarterback and win lots of football games. I've seen it. So, I mean, no, it's me and Bobby always talk about this too. It's like nobody uses the Russell Wilson blueprint for trying to get a mobile quarterback like good and like give the Russell Wilson treatment to these guys and it's like, yeah, I know, like
let him get outside. That's what I never understand it, man. I never get it.
And then like plays breaking down in Buffalo should not look like they look right now. Like they look like holy shit. Like what the fuck? Plays breaking down in Buffalo should look like holy shit. Like he still got it to Diggs. Like that's crazy. Like he came across the middle after the route broke down. But I don't know. They stink in my head, honestly. Like watching them, and it's annoying because they should be so good. We were calling them a wagon every year. Like,
well, it's like beyond Davis now. That wide receiver room is not very good. I mean, and Davis is very hit or miss. Like he's very good sometimes.
Who's their tight end?
Not very good sometimes. They just
Kincaid.
Yeah, Knox is out. Kincaid is
Kincaid
is the guy now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. It's not like it wasn't packed. Remember in like 21 they had like Cole Beasley as their slot guy, and they have Emmanuel Sanders as their wide receiver 3. Now it's Khalil Shakur and someone else I can't even think of. And it's like beyond those 2 dudes, they really don't have much. And I feel like when Allen feels like he needs to force it too, like when he feels like he needs to make a play. That's when we see. You guys remember who Josh Allen used to be, right? The guy that used to, fumble and toss the ball behind his back in the wild card playoffs, in the fucking 4th quarter. Like this dude is fucking tapped. So when you get him in certain situations, man, he just makes crazy turnover plays. He's like Tony Romo. We said that last week.
It just feels like for a team that should be so unpredictable, they're the most predictable. If they line up under center, it's a run, so you can stop it. And if it's in shotgun, it's going to Diggs. So you're just going to double them. And then they can't beat you. It doesn't make any sense.
It's really strange. It's really strange, like setup to watch. It's like somebody having like an array of tools and they just like keep using the same fucking tool over and over again. Like, and you're like, that's not the right tool.
So,
sir.
I have a hot take that I don't even know if it's hot anymore because it's been like 4 years of the same bullshit. Is Sean McDermott not a good coach? Because I'm pretty sure he's going into like Jason Garrett territory. He's going into that kind of territory where it's like, bro, you gotta do something fucking different. You know what I mean? Like you can't keep doing this same exact thing and expecting it to work. It's just gonna work less and less and less and less.
I think that you asking the question, is he not a good coach, predicated upon the fact that we did that thing where we overreacted to him at one point, because we constantly, as a fan base, as an NFL culture, overreact to one good coaching season. Like we did it with Dayball last year. We've done it with Saleh before. We did it with who was it? Oh, the 7-0 run in Miami with what's his name that
with
in
Minnesota,
fucking Minnesota or whatever. I forget his name now. The hell's
the guy that sued the NFL.
Yeah, he sued
Brian
the NFL.
Flores.
Flores,
Yeah, Flores, yeah.
Like it was like, oh my god, these tactical geniuses, and it's like, well, and like Sean McVay, like it was like, oh yeah, like look at like when he went and he took.
Well, McVay's pretty good.
No, he's good, but you know the way that we react to them, like in their first hot season, is then causes this thing where you're like, is McDermott not actually good? And it's like a big fall from grace, because it's like, yeah, well, like, has he ever really been that good? Like,
that's what I mean. I feel like when you see star players not like their coach and you see all this drama and stuff like that, that's when fucking people
over like
right. That's when people need to be like, okay, something's up with that coach, because if Stephon Diggs it doesn't like McDermott or whatever the fuck case may be, something's up. Something's up there.
I agree. I guess we have to talk about the fucking Cleveland Browns, because you put them at 9. They're a propped up like winning team. I don't.
They're for as much love as you give the Steelers, they're literally the Steelers with a better offense, with a little bit better of an offense.
Their better offense was like 2 plays, bro. Like the only reason that Sean had like anything on his stat line was like 2 fucking plays, like one big one to Amari Cooper, and that was fucking it. You know, he should be doing that shit with him all the time. Like
which got tipped.
Which did get tipped. And also, the Steelers don't have the albatross of that being a fucking humongous deal to get Deshaun Watson in there. And it's just so stop-start. And it's like, obviously it's not healthy there. Like, obviously it's not a healthy culture there. And they're still the Cleveland Browns. The Deshaun Watson is not the person to drag them kicking and screaming into becoming a winning NFL franchise. But here we are talking about them as the 9th best team in the fucking NFL. It's infuriating, because it's like, there's enough parity where I can see why they're here. But like, I don't like them when they're on my screen. Like, I just don't like it. So, Mike, I mean, do you disagree?
Unfortunately, ZK, I do. I think that they're a real team, and only because
you really do. What about all the weird Deshaun stuff?
Yeah, they won with PJ Walker in starting 3 games. Like, they're 5-3, despite the fact that they're fully guaranteed $284 million quarterback. Decided that he did not want to play for 3.5 games.
He was healthy. He's like,
didn't want to play.
I think Myles Garrett is the reason for that. You know, like, I think that like the defensive side of the ball is the reason for. I know they are exactly. Like,
it's literally the Steelers, bro.
I mean, he's got what, like 10 sacks already this season.
Yeah,
he's pretty
good.
He's pretty fucking good. Do we have him in the prediction show as our defensive player of the year? Because he's heading that way.
We did not.
I think he did. Someone did.
Someone did.
I had Micah. I know I had Micah, but she's not going to get.
Oh, then maybe we did, because I
think we were like, let's not get
Garrett
with that one. I was like, let's not get cute. Let's just take Myles Garrett, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch. I think that their defense is a lot of fun to watch. I will begrudgingly admit. Like they're blocking kicks, they're forcing fumbles, like they're doing fun shit on the defensive side of the ball that makes you kind of bounce out of your couch, but turgid offensively, I have to say.
They scored 27 points without an offense, so it's like,
you also got to give them credit for the fact, like I said, they're 5-3 without their star quarterback and without their star running back, who went out with a catastrophic fucking injury.
I know my fucking star running back on my fucking
most catastrophic fucking injury I've ever seen in my goddamn.
We have seen that. We've seen that destroy the psyche of teams, and for some reason it hasn't on them yet. So you got to give them some props on that.
All right, fine. You talked me into it. I hate that it's.
Can I call it that it's hilarious that they got rid of a quarterback who played through a torn labrum and pretty much sacrificed his career, and they're like, yeah, we don't want you, Baker. Let's get Deshaun, and then Deshaun Watson won't play because he can't get a hand job before a football game. He's like, I don't know, man, my shoulder. I used to have something that would work this out, but it's just
he's a weird dude. He's a weird dude. I don't like it. That's another thing. I mean, it's like, ugh, it's icky. The whole thing's icky.
Yeah, okay. Are we not allowed to talk about that? Is that like you're not?
No, we can talk about it. I just I don't want to think about Deshaun Watson getting jacked off. If that's cool with you. Number 8 on the list is the Cowboys. I mean, I seem to have to do this all the time. Now we have a neutral party here. Usually I just talk Bobby off the ledge because I'm like, I didn't think it was a loss, but it wasn't a bad loss. Like, it was like, you're talking about the team that, spoiler alert, is number 1 in the fucking power rankings. Like, you're supposed to lose to them, right? They're supposed to beat somebody.
But you
It was
shouldn't have.
unconvincing by the Eagles. It was,
But you shouldn't
really
have.
unconvincing
Bro,
yet again.
we had that game twice. We had that game in 2 separate situations.
Well, you have Dak Prescott
And
as quarterback, unfortunately.
That's literally what it comes down to, and it's so. It's cousin Sal said this on BS Pod. It's disappointing. It's not. I'm not even mad. I'm not even saying
that angle on that
I'm
2-point conversion is.
It's
I was
so.
like, I was
so,
incensed.
like,
I was incensed. I was like, "You're such a
Why?
pussy, dude. Like, you're
Bro,
such a."
there is a direct line to the fucking goal line.
And that would have
put
won
your
you the
fucking
game. That would have
shoulder
won you
down
the game,
and
just for the record.
get
Like, you're
in there,
100% winning that game if he makes
and
that.
it's just like it's like it's so frustrating.
Because you can kick a field goal then, right, to win if you get the 2 points.
we're not
Otherwise,
even-
you need.
Plus, Ferguson did get interfered with on that fucking play.
That was a
goal line.
bullshit no call. I agree with you. That was
Bullshit.
a bullshit no call. But it was the end of the
But
game, and you can't be relying.
It doesn't.
On
It
them at
does.
the same time.
So before that though, same thing. We had. It was first down like the 12 with 34 seconds left, right? And it's like, okay, we are in a position here where we have 4 shots at this end zone with 12 seconds left, and you can get a first down and get another 4 shots. What the fuck does Dak Prescott do? He holds the ball for 3 extra seconds. And
Well, you
takes
said that was going to happen.
worst-
Dude. He does
bro,
it every
it's-
time you said.
It's so predictable, guys. It's either a strip fumble or a sack that you're like throw it, and he's tapping, and all of a sudden it's like his offensive lineman crashes into him because he's been blocking him for 7 seconds. It's not like the guy broke through. You know what?
I think it was this
It's
show.
so frustrating.
I think it was this show last year where Mike and I basically had an impromptu intervention for you, where I just finally said, he's not the dude. He's not the guy who's going to take you to the promised land. And Mike being Mike, just gleefully stuck the boot in. Like, just while you were down, just like, yeah, fuck Dak Prescott. But unfortunately, it was true, and you were still in a little bit of denial about it. But it sounds like now you finally come to accept that, like, either you do the thing that I've been fucking banging the drum on for weeks. If you can get him to a place like this mentally, where you make him, you fix the scheme and you make him into a game manager, and stop letting him play hero ball and stop putting the ball in his hands when you need to win the game.
What's so disappointing is he can play hero ball, and he can do that until there is 2 fucking minutes left in the game.
I saw
and then
him
he literally
shrink.
shits his pants. You can see it on his face. You can see it
Yeah.
on his face.
You
You
can.
see the you
He
just
looks like Joe Mazzulla.
you know
when he's
what's
supposed to be
coming, man.
calling a timeout. That's what he looks like.
Exactly. And it's like, yeah. I don't even know if the ball control thing would help, because yes, it would. The defense would make great plays unless we get into a close game. If it comes down to a close game in the playoffs, I do not trust Dak Prescott in the big moment to make the play. I don't trust it.
If the model, Mike, tell me I'm wrong here about just practically, you're a practical guy.
Yeah.
If the model is keep the defense off the field for as long as possible so that they have the most stamina when they have to come out and play you, right? In clutch, big, close game situations. If that's the model, if it's defense first, I think they potentially win that game against the Eagles. But if it's, let's see if we can get CeeDee Lamb, 12 to 15 catches, because like Dak's going to hit him deep. And like, oh yeah, like these like long curl routes are like, and it's like, yeah, it's fun to watch for the first half. But then they're like, the other team's like, well, I guess we'll just have to drop a safety back and just like catch up with him on that side. And Dak is not resourceful enough to, especially as Bobby said in the last 2 minutes, to start thinking outside the box. I mean, look, you can see it with Ferguson, the tight end. That is your go-to game management target guy. You can literally make the game with that dude. You can just start pumping it to him on check.
He was open.
He was open every time. He's got
play.
good hands. He's got good yards. He's got after the catch ability. He's got a good head on his shoulders. And I'm like, he's right fucking there, dude. Just manage the game with him, and he won't do it, right, Mike? Or is it just like, fuck it, it's too late. Dak's never going to do it. We got to get somebody else.
No, it's 100% right. And I don't know if they'll do exactly what you just mentioned, but if there was an NFL team out there that needed two running backs, it is the Dallas Cowboys, because if you have
Not
someone
Zeke,
to
but like, yeah, I agree.
and like anyone else besides Zeke that would help alleviate Tony Pollard. Like if you can get that rushing attack back to averaging 120, 130 yards a game, you're going to take a mistake out of Dak's hands. And right now they're not doing that, and they're forcing him to do what we all know he's going to do at the end of the game.
I know, it's so upsetting.
You know what's they just, to me, they remind me a lot of a team that we're going to talk about later, and that's the Dolphins, where it's like they just get pushed around.
That's funny because
too,
they don't
where
remind
it's-
me of the Dolphins at all.
No.
Well,
I actually don't think I could think of two different
Well,
teams.
aside from the fact that neither of them have beaten a good team this year, like that's the only comparison.
Well, that's what I mean. Until
I don't think you guys get
show
physically
me.
bullied though.
Well, they do though. In the trenches,
I
they
think
do.
They win the trench.
They
do.
do.
Defensively, they win the trench battle most of the time.
Defensively, okay. Defensively, you're right. You're 100%
That's
right.
part of what I like about that team, to be honest. Like your guys' pressure with 4 is like, in my favorite, other than maybe the Steelers. Like the way that you can pressure with 4 guys
Unless
is
they stop.
very impressive.
They
And
got to
I
stop
think-
letting people fucking hold Micah. He's getting like the Gronkowski and KG treatment at this point, and Shaq treatment, where it's like he gets held and he's like, "What the hell, bro?" And they're like,
Yeah,
well,
but that's
you know,
like
well,
you
you're
gotta
Micah
have the
Parsons,
second guy
so-
step up. You gotta have the second guy step up because he's getting double teamed too, and like they're finding ways to like,
Yeah.
they're chop blocking them. They're doing all different kinds of dark art shit. But like it's like the Gronkowski thing, right? It's like you just you get so good that the rules change for you to make it fair, and that's just what's gonna happen,
twice, 2 opportunities, guys. And the second one was a fucking gift on a silver platter. You should not have gotten that second chance, and you drove him right down the field, and you fucked up the same fucking thing twice. And it's like, I've listened. This team's going to the playoffs. I'm sure we'll get there. It'll be a fun season for the rest of the year. I have zero faith that if we go up against the 49ers or if we go up against the Eagles, well, maybe the Eagles in the playoffs, we could take them. But the 49ers in the playoffs, I don't think we have a chance against them. As bad as they're playing now, I still don't think that this Cowboys team can beat them. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about this when we get up there, but I'm remain thoroughly unconvinced by the Eagles every week. And it's the same shit. You could just play the tape of me saying this last year. And I was a little nervous when they got out of the championship game. I was like, oh my God, they lost. See, I'm unconvinced by them. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. And they, obviously the road to the Super Bowl goes through Philadelphia in the NFC. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you're probably going to have the way that it's shaping out, right? Like if you guys lose a couple more games, you'll be the wild card team in that division. You're not catching them at this point. So
we'll be going to San Fran probably. If things
Yikes.
stay about equal, we'll be going to
Yikes.
San Fran in the first place. Yeah.
Because I don't know, they actually handed it to you pretty badly. I was convinced by that win more.
Oh
I was unconvinced, but then their brains broke. So
that's
knows?
by the way. So my buddy, this is a fun Cowboy stat, and then we can move on. Week after playing the Cowboys, the team that any team that's played the Cowboys the next week is 0-7 against the spread now, or 0-8, however many weeks.
I mean, that's the sign of a physical team that's like winning the trench battle against you.
Yeah.
For nothing. I know that it's fun to talk shit about them.
Not offensive line, but
no, I agree with you. I mean, I think your left tackle is really good. What's his name?
Smith. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, that would have been my guess.
Yeah, John Smith.
Muhammad, is his name Muhammad?
We have 2 actually. There's Tyron and
Tyron's the
another
one who's good. Yeah, I like
he's
him.
really good.
He's decent. But then I think you have a rookie that fucked up a bunch in that game. That was like pissing me off.
Terrence Steele. Oh my fucking God!
He was really
bro.
pissing me off. He was all over the place. They should have yanked him and put somebody else in there.
It was 30. I think it was 24 plays out of like 60 something. Terrence Steele had some kind of effect on the play in a negative way, whether it be a pressure, a sack, or a quarterback hurry, which is
Yikes.
just absurd. That's absurd.
That'd be a great stat line for a D lineman, but unfortunately, he plays on the offense. That's tough, buddy. Yeah, you got to go back to footwork school or fucking offensive guard camp or whatever the fuck they're gonna put you through. Quickly, just because the Lions have not played since the Monday Night Football game against the Raiders on the 30th, they sort of feel like a distant memory to me. I was high on them in the prediction show. I'm still pretty high on them. I think their defense has holes in it that are going to get found out when they get to a playoff situation. But I like their offense a lot. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot. I like watching them play. I like their running back room is a lot of fun to watch. The debate over their running back room is a lot of fun. They're coming back. I guess since they haven't played this week, I'll ask you this question, Mike. I think they could end the Chargers season on Sunday in their afternoon game against them. I think they can draw a line under the Chargers season by just spanking them really handily coming off a rest. What do you think about this Lions team?
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely should end the Chargers season. The Chargers are like one of the most poorly coached teams I've ever seen. They're soft. They should be so good, but they're not. No. And the Lions, Dan Campbell has instilled like that toughness factor in them, right? And so I think they will beat up on mentally soft teams, and they have the offense to keep up with LA. So I think this should be like a 10-point win by them, and then bye Brandon Staley.
Bobby, are you finally convinced by the Detroit Lions? You were not hearing it at the start of the season. Have you come around on them? We haven't talked about them in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I questioned them just because of their defense. I know the offense is good. The defense is the big thing that stuck out, but their defense looked good a few weeks ago, and I kind of got on board.
Well. Personnel-wise, I think it's close. But
Aaron Glenn looks like he might actually be a good D coordinator, which is kind of cool because I loved Aaron Glenn back in the day. Yeah,
obviously they got pasted by the Ravens, but like that, we're saying the Ravens are legitimately good,
right? So that might be one of those where it's like, okay, that might not be that bad of a loss, even though you got pasted. It was one of the best teams in the league. Plus,
and then bounce back win.
At this point, I don't know if they might be the team I trust second most in the NFC, and with the way the 49ers are playing lately. You know what I mean? With the consistency and everything like that, they might be the second best team in the NFC. It's very possible.
That's an interesting take. To me, I think there's like enough time. This is going to sound convoluted, but hopefully it comes out okay. There's enough time for the Lions to reveal their weaknesses, and there's enough time for the 49ers to fix their holes. And I think that both of those things will come true. It would be my prediction, but I can see why your point is what it is, because for me, it's like, if the 49ers were going to skid playing the kind of football that they play, like they played this tightrope style football with also a tightrope in the medical room. Like there's a lot of motherfuckers on that team made of paper mache. But if they were beat up during that period, you know, like they did have a lot of key injuries, Bobby. I will just like point that out. Obviously, if you're a great team, you should recover from that. But as far as the Lions go, I think that might also be like an NFC North. Like I kind of want them to still fail on some level thing, but I like David Montgomery a lot. I was a big fan of him in Chicago, obviously. I don't really get what
you love Jahmyr Gibbs.
I don't get it. I just like the way he runs. I'm kind of like, what's the like? Maybe it was too much hype and it was just not as electric as I thought. But then he had a good couple of weeks with Montgomery out, so.
Yep.
That was inevitable because I said he wasn't good. He was obviously going to start lighting it up. So that's just how it works. Any more on the Lions? Anything important anyone wants to say? They did have a bye week, so it's tough.
Just want to say that I was first on the Lions being good. You know?
Man, I was first. I
said it in 2020.
You can't do that.
Yeah, but it wasn't true in 2020.
That's a whole different regime.
It's a whole different. It's a slow build.
By that logic. Okay, whatever. That's hilarious, actually.
I like it.
That's the most Mike thing that's happened on this show so far. The 49ers, I mean, perfect transition, are the next on your list. Number 6 with a bullet are the San Francisco 49ers. They needed a week off, if you ask me. And I think that they're, that's what they look like to me. A team that was like sort of beat up, and they've lost 3 games? I mean,
3 in a row.
3 in a row,
sure,
yeah. After being, what's so surprising about it though is like, and alarming, is because they were so leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the NFL, where it was like, you know, was it just shock value of the Purdy thing? Like, what was it that made them look so much better than everyone else? To the point where, like, remember, I teared it out. I've never done that before, where I was like, okay, the 49ers are fucking here.
I know.
Everyone else is here.
They looked so good.
And then all of a sudden they came crashing back down to earth. Like, I don't know if maybe people got more tape on Purdy and that's what's going on. Because, like, listen, I don't know. I don't claim to know football like X's and O's like that. So I don't fucking know. But, like,
cut that part. He does. He knows everything about football. You're here for
everything. But you know what I mean? Like, bro,
I do.
I don't know what it actually is, but something's wrong
I got to tell you
in
guys,
San Francisco.
I do have faith that they'll fix it with the studs that they have on both sides of the ball over there, and I think they have a great coach who like will be able to figure it out, especially with this week off. But Mike, I mean, there's a murderer's row of teams that they have to play on this schedule. They're coming back to the Jags. That's gonna be like if the Jags could put a fourth hurting on the Niners, like I don't. At that point, I'm doubtful about them able to to take their thing out of a tailspin. They have to play the Seahawks twice in the next 5 weeks. They play the Eagles in the next 5 weeks. The next 7 weeks on Christmas Day. Wait, really? Do we have Christmas Day games?
Yeah, we did this year.
Yeah.
That's new. Yeah. Am I having like a fucking aneurysm?
No,
If I ever watch football on Christmas Day?
No, it's usually
Day.
Christmas. It's usually Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's usually.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
That's basketball day. That's weird. Anyway,
Yeah,
they
the NFL's like, hey, basketball.
Yeah, fuck you,
bro.
basketball.
It's not a fuck.
Yeah. This is how big the NFL's dick is. Get ready. It's coming down your
For
chin.
real, bro.
December 2023.
Poor NBA. They're like, we're doing a tournament because they're just like with fucking
Oh my
football. We don't know what the fuck to do.
Listen, I love the NBA, but it's just ugh. Anyway, they play the Ravens on Christmas Day. That's that's fucking crazy. So all that being said, yeah, they could take some bad L's. They're really gonna have to pull out. They needed to come into this period a little bit stronger. They played the Bengals the wrong week to play the Bengals. I have to say that was the worst probably week of the
agreed.
whole NFL season to play the Bengals.
You
The
weren't here.
Vikings.
I knew that Bengals were gonna win that fucking game. I
So
fucking
did
knew
I.
it.
So did I. And my bank account can prove it. I was like, yes, I think the Bengals are gonna win this shit. And I love the value on the bets we got for the Bengals over the Bills. I was like, I don't even have to watch that game. I'm like, I'm 100% sure the fucking Bengals are beating the Bills. So that's all great. Not for San Francisco, but again, coming off a bye, they have a lot to do. They have a lot to do after that Bengals loss. So hopefully some guys have healed up. But we'll learn a lot after after they get back in. Speaking of the Bengals, we're doing the Dolphins next. The Dolphins, I mean, how can the Dolphins, I'll just ask this in a meta way because we've talked about the Dolphins a lot on this show and there's a lot of week-to-week stuff we can do. How can the Dolphins do shit if they can't beat good teams? Mike? Like, it's part of winning Super Bowls is beating good teams, unfortunately. You can never not do that if you want to win a Super Bowl. So they can't be physical teams, it seems like. Is it that, or is it just teams with a lot of talent? Are they flat track bullies? Are they able to just run up numbers on teams that aren't good?
Yeah.
And that's what their identity is.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've seen when they get down 14 points against the Panthers, within like 10 seconds, it's now 21-14 in favor of the Dolphins. But when they know that they're going up against a team that is maybe tougher or is better, has a better record than them, they just fucking fold. I don't understand it. The one thing I'll say is that speed is going to be hard to compete with in January. Like, we always see fast teams make a playoff run, and I do think that they have a good coach. I just think that they are paper champions. If their defense gets a little healthier,
the Mike Marcangelo paper champions mantle is officially been cast first time this year.
We should get like a shelf and we just put all the logos up and be like the paper champions.
Yeah,
that's right.
Make them out of paper.
They did have a fight back against the Chiefs. They did try to win that game after going down 21-0, and they showed some heart. I'll say that. But it looked like they left some of their ability back in the mainland.
The difference between those two teams, though, is that in like nut cutting time, the Chiefs just wouldn't allow them to win. You know what I mean? Like, the Dolphins don't have that in them. Maybe they do; they just haven't shown it yet. But if they have a pretty easy schedule for the rest of the way here, and I think that they're undefeated at home. So if they do play the playoffs and it is in Miami, I'm going to be hard pressed to pick against them. It might be a Miami and Kansas City AFC title game. It might be.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that 14-0 thing against Carolina, though, is the exact reason why I don't trust the Miami Dolphins. You know what I mean? Where it's like, against a shitty team, I get it that it's hard to get up and
they scored
get going for that game.
Could have scored more this season. I will say that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
How quickly we forget.
But like, a great team shouldn't need because if you watch the mic'd up, because I love watching that shit every single week. If you watch the mic up from that game, they went down 14-0 and literally they're like, all right, guys, let's wake up. This is our game. Let's go. And then boom, it was 21-14. It's like, you shouldn't need that kind of motivation if you're a great fucking football team.
Okay,
And
but
like you
can
said,
I just put an asterisk
like-
on the European
they had-
factor,
they-
though? Like,
that,
it seems every week in
That's-
these Europe games, there's one team that fucking
that was
decided
the
to
week before,
acclimate.
though. That was the week before, though.
Didn't they play in Europe? Dolphins, Chiefs?
No,
Then I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the week before. The week.
Oh
before.
yeah, no,
right, the week before.
yes, fair point on that. But I think that beating a Patriots team like in Miami is something Miami do even when they're not good. Like it's even when the Patriots are
it's true.
good, it was like impossible for them to go to Miami and win. It was like it's a known thing. It's a
They got
gambler's
bullied.
fact.
They got bullied by the Bills. You know what I mean? It's
I
like,
agree.
yes,
I agree.
they might win that division, but like unless
worrying.
I agree with Mike. Unless it's in Miami in the playoffs, this team is. I'm not going to put my money on the
So your
Miami
trust
Dolphins
level,
in the
like-
playoffs.
Like what you
Correct.
were saying about the Lions, you trust them in the NFC. You don't trust the Dolphins because I haven't trusted
Correct.
the Bills for weeks. Like I have not trusted
Right.
them for weeks. But I don't
If-
know
if
if I'm
it's-
fully untrustworthy of the Dolphins. And the unfortunate thing is they're about to rattle off a series of games that goes Las Vegas, Jets,
Win.
Commanders,
Win,
Titans,
win,
Jets
win,
again, then the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. And it's like
Wins.
they're going to win 5 games
Loss.
in a row. That it's not going to prove shit about what we're talking about right now. Like it's the opposite of we're going to learn a lot this weekend because we're not going to learn dick about the Dolphins until they play the Cowboys in December. So
Right.
it's like it's unfortunate because this is going to be the conversation. It's like they are flat track bullies. They can be the fastest guys on the field, and if they're allowed to be the fastest guys on the field, they will win that game. Like that's just a fact. But now there's this tape, and I do agree that now because there's this tape, the Cowboys will actually fucking beat them. Is the thing. Like depending
I
on
think
what,
so.
on what,
I
on
think
what
so.
shape the Cowboys are in, they should be perfectly set up to win. You don't think so, Mike?
There are two teams that don't beat other good teams, except the Dolphins are better. They're faster.
You're right.
they're
It's
more
going to be
skilled.
5-3 to somebody.
That's like the Chargers and the Cowboys a couple weeks ago, where it was like who can out fuck up each other.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals have returned. They like to coast just real cool and casual into the start of these seasons. And they know they're going to get it turned on. I feel like Joe Burrow called some sort of voodoo doctor because he actually is like planting on his throwing foot. I don't think he should have been playing. I don't think he should have been playing at all. For
I
the first few
agree,
weeks,
yeah.
but I think that he's Joe Burrow, so he can't help himself. For at least the first 3 weeks, he probably should have been benched. Based on the night and day difference between how he looks now and how he looked then. We never
Well,
should have doubted them. We kind of didn't because they do this every year. So I don't know. They
Well,
look like to me like contenders. They look like the top 3 in the AFC right now.
I definitely did. I mean, I was on board saying on the prediction show that like I was all on Joe Burrow. This was, where all
too.
my stock was this year. I was so sure that, if there was any team in the AFC I was sure about, it was the Bengals. I said that. And then I definitely fell off. They fell off the top 10 after like week 3.
And they look like shit.
But bro,
Yeah.
it's like the difference that it was, I think week 4, week 5, it was like there's one specific throw to Chase in the end zone where I was like, oh, there it is. That was it. And as soon
the
as
moment.
that happened, it's been rolling ever since. I think they have 1 loss since then. So I mean, they're definitely real. They're definitely the same Bengals. I agree. I don't know why the fuck anyone or we ever
Well,
doubt them. 'Cause
Yeah,
here
but
we are.
you both did a great job at hedging your bets because I think it was the week 5 PR show when you said like they're 1-3 now. If they get to 1-4, then the wheels come off this fucking bus.
And they
But
never
if they win,
listen.
if they win this week, then watch out. They're going to rattle off 4 more wins, and they did. And now they're fucking 5-3, and it feels like they look like they're 7-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have
also
that
got it
feel.
going.
I
They
agree.
got it
I
going
agree.
on the defensive side of the ball. That guy, Trey Hendrickson.
He's so good.
Yeah,
man.
he's lethal. So,
unbelievable.
they just started getting it going. And Bombi, your 2 favorite quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Joe Burrow, are going to play each other. It's like
Ooh, I love it.
they're playing each
Oh.
other this Sunday in one of the early games. Like, are you going to be okay? Like, who
Bro,
do you think you're
I'm
going to root for?
Not wearing pants during. That's for sure.
If it's a pants off party, will they kiss? I don't know. Maybe.
Who knows? We'll see, man. We'll see. It might get crazy.
It could get crazy over there. Texans Bengals is absolutely like
That's a
I
fun
would
game.
call it like the MTP's game of the week. We got to put a star on that one. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be wild. I think the Bengals come out victors, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Moving right along. I mean, we are
I could feel the excitement in your voice talking
I am
about
so
that game.
excited.
I could feel it, bro. You're like, let's.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to do the exercise in a weird way for the final 4 teams because I want to know everyone's opinion on the Ravens based on the question we always ask on the power rankings for the top 4. And I think it's a good
I don't
context
think
to
they've
look
been
at.
in this before.
I
Maybe
don't,
last week.
and I
We
think
didn't
that
do it last
I
week,
think
though.
everyone's answers might be very telling about where we're all kind of seeing the Ravens. With for me, it was the beating of Seattle. So we'll get into that. But if they play any one of the Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals,
Detected at your front door.
all right, stop screaming at me. If it was fucking Alexa's just like decided.
It sounded like iRobot right
I
there.
know. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, David. That's how I go. The smart house
That is
turns
not-
on me. But if the Ravens play the Chiefs, the Bengals, or the Eagles right now in an AFC championship game, and I know they can't play the Eagles in an AFC championship game, but if in a championship game or a Super Bowl setting, I would be hard pressed to get a bet against the Ravens against any of those teams right now. Just the way that they're beating good teams. If we apply that logic to the Dolphins, to the Cowboys, they can't beat good teams, et cetera, et cetera. The way the Ravens are beating good teams, because I really do think Seattle's a good team. The weapons they have there. I mean, I know Geno Smith hasn't looked quite right, but to beat them like that, like to shut down that offense, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, these are
They
still
embarrass them.
gamers.
They
Yeah,
embarrass
these are
them.
still gamers. And I would have a tough with how the Chiefs have kind of looked on the offensive side of the ball, not quite themselves. That's been plain to see. The Eagles' wins have been unconvincing. The Bengals probably had the best shot by how they're constituted to beat the Ravens right now. But they, again, like they started off the season a little unconvincing. So, Mike, any of those 3 teams would beat the Ravens right now?
Yeah, I would bet the Chiefs would beat the Ravens.
Because it's the championship. It's because of the championship context, though, right? Because you've seen them.
Yeah,
hard to bet
it's like
against.
to beat the man, you got to beat the man, right? And
Yeah.
nobody's beat the Chiefs yet. But as bad as that defense or as that offenses look, their defenses look that much better this year. So I feel like I feel like in nut cutting time, who do you trust more? Do you trust Mahomes or Lamar Jackson? And I'm
Well,
going to
do
say
you
it's
still
Mahomes.
have the I haven't seen? Because you are the ultimate proponent in
Yes.
on this podcast of the
Yes.
I haven't seen it from Lamar in the playoffs, so it's going to happen again. It just looks so much more regular season convincing this year.
It
though.
looks so much. Yeah, it looks so much better this year. He's leading the league in completion percentage. He's leading the league in rushing as the first quarterback since
He looks
Steve
basically
Young.
impossible to play against. Like impossible. Like,
And he actually has weapons this year. Like
That's
the thing. That is the thing.
Flowers
Market-
and Andrews being the guys that he's looking at, as opposed to whatever.
Fucking who the
Listen,
fuck was this one the last like 3 years? It was
I know.
unbelievable, man. He had like who
Yeah,
the fuck was
yeah.
it last year?
It was oh God, I know it was Bateman.
Fuck is
It was
his
like
name?
his leading receiver. It was Bateman, Rashard Bateman. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was right. But like if you just think about it this way, you have Odell Beckham as your number 3, and then you have
got his first touchdown. See that?
Nelson Aguilar as your number 4, who's actually having his best season in 3 years.
Because that's what he's supposed to be. We had this whole
Right.
conversation on the Patriots show, Mike. Like
Yep.
it's wide receivers that are wide receiver 4s can be great wide receiver 4s, 3s, 2s, like wherever. You can't make a guy like that your 1. Like it just doesn't work, right? Not in today's NFL with the kind of cornerbacks that are going to be guarding them.
Right. And the thing that's so different with the eye test this year with Lamar is that when he hits that back foot on the 3 or 5 step drop back, he's already made the decision and the ball's out. Like
Yeah.
he's not
Agreed.
buying
Release
10
is so much
seconds.
better. The release
Agreed.
is so much better.
He's very definitive about what he's doing. So I think if he plays like he has now, it would be tough for me to pick him, but I would still pick Kansas City.
I feel like in this offense, right, that we're watching, this is the ideal, perfect offense for Lamar Jackson right now, where it's like he's evolved into the quarterback that you can model an offense around. That
Yep.
He's not just a mobile quarterback anymore, but he's not a passing quarterback. He's both. He's literally like a hybrid passer, where you literally do not know on every play what he's going to do. And you can't guess one way or the other. It's not like with Fields where it's like if the play's not breaking down around him, he can't just drop back into the pocket. Lamar can drop back into the pocket. And like he's that guy. He's exactly what everyone wanted Vic to do all those years and wanted all these guys to do all these years. Lamar has finally found it. He's found that middle ground. And I don't see anyone beating them. This
If you had to pick
like
any of those 3 teams, who would you say is most likely as currently
Ravens.
constituted to beat them?
The-
No, the 3 teams against the Ravens. I mean, the Bengals, the Eagles, or the Chiefs.
I would say
'Cause
probably.
I feel like the Bengals are built to be the team like
probably the
Ravens.
Bengals. Probably the Bengals. It's
And
a
then you have
divisional
Patrick
matchup.
Mahomes in that. You have the Patrick Mahomes and obviously in the championship caliber that he brings, and he's hard to doubt. But for me, if they saw the Eagles in the Super Bowl, I would be putting a mortgage on the Ravens. Like, I don't think the
Yeah,
Eagles can bully them. You know,
I agree.
I don't. It's not. I think it'd be a good game, maybe, but like the way, especially the way that Jalen Hurts plays, it's like you think that the guys that are scrimmaging against Lamar Jackson every week like are fucking scared of Jalen Hurts. Like, they're not. Like, they literally have to like practice against a guy who is better at doing that exact thing that he does, right? Like,
it's a great point.
because it's like, oh shit, like he can use his wheels, and I do think Jalen Hurts is a younger, like at an earlier age, has better decision making capabilities than Lamar did between the two skill sets. Also he has way better
one than
weapons than Lamar ever fucking had at that point. I mean, the wide receivers that Hurts is thrown to, I feel like I could fucking throw to those guys.
Well, that's what
I'd be having a good season.
Can you imagine if Lamar Jackson had fucking AJ Brown and Devante Smith
know.
throwing to,
Come
bro?
on.
It would be.
I mean, AJ Brown is crazy good, dude. Like, it's bananas.
I don't know, man. The Ravens to me, like, I know I have them at 2 on this list, but I'm with you where it's like,
I kind of think they should be 1 because their wins are convincing. Their wins are more convincing than the Eagles' wins.
I'm full on, and I have more faith in Harbaugh over Sirianni. I remember we were doubting him a few times last year, but like the way that he just changes, you know what I mean? He's the epitome of that old school coach that finally has figured out how to survive in today's NFL, where like he had his old way. He had a way with Joe Flacco that won a championship, and then he got Lamar and was like, we're changing everything.
Yeah, of course.
We're overhauling this entire roster, and they did it mid. So I don't know, man. I'm full in on the Ravens. I love the Ravens.
I love it. It was a great call by you, as well as the CJ Stroud call. Those are really genuinely golden takes that have come out. But I like the fact that you still have to watch Dak Prescott and think about the Steelers. So like the world is balanced. You know, you had like they're just right there knocking on the door. Like I said. Anyway.
As all things should be.
As all things. Wow, what a reference. It's the summer of 2016 all over again. Listen, guys, we talked about the good teams. We talked about the bad teams. And all that's left to do is watch the probably worst slated Thursday night football game of the NFL season between the Bears.
It's the worst primetime week. Worst primetime.
It might. It's such a bad primetime. It might be.
There's a lot of exciting early games on Sunday. There's a lot of exciting afternoon games on Sunday. We're especially excited. MTP game of the week. Bengals, Texans. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great weekend of football. And as always, we'll know so much more after this next week. So thank you so much for Mike Marcangelo for coming in. Real BK Bob Kelly. Glad we weren't cursed this week. This has been the Power Rankings on Missing the Point.
Hey there, I'm DC. I host the Rock Podcast, Back to the Arena, The Interviews. It's about a 30-minute podcast where I talk one-on-one with a band who has released new music. You can find us on all the best podcast sites like Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and more. If you're a rock fan like me, subscribe today to Back to the Arena, The Interviews.
Electricast.
If you're a working professional wondering what's next for your career, you've come to the right place. Whether you're looking for a promotion, growth, or a potential career transition, look no further. With over 30 years working in a variety of industries, I share my insider knowledge with those ready to get ahead on Career Advancement with Craig Ansell. Tune in to get your strategies for success.